Welcome back. Welcome to lesson 2. It's Ryan here again, and we're here now to talk about body copy, or essentially the rest of the content after that hook that goes into your primary text. Okay, so some of the things to bear in mind here then. What are the kind of things we're looking for when you're writing the rest of your body copy? Well, first of all, following on kind of from the previous lesson, you want to make sure that the body copy follows on from your hook. We've brought your audience in by relating to them with a pain point. Now show off why your product is good for them or is going to work for them. Or you've drawn them in other ways by calling them out and talking about your product or your service. Now you're talking more about, you're talking in more detail. Now, this part of copy is a little bit tricky because whilst it is important, in general, about 85% of people are not actually getting to this stage. So this is kind of the area where you go into more detail for the benefit of those people who are interested. Okay, so just kind of a heads up there to bear in mind. Okay, essentially this is going to be some of that stuff that if we've seen ads before, it's below that see more option. Okay. So it's great to test things like or it's good to test different formats of copy. So this, for example, is what we would deem short form copy. It's very simplistic, it's to the point. Again, remember, we're talking about luxury swimwear here. Swimwear. There's not really that much more to say, right? But what about if we go back to our lawyer example? Well, obviously people want to know a little bit more information before they just go signing up with a law firm willy-nilly, right? So, for example, you can test different features of body copy or different formats of body copy. For example, like a benefit stack here. So this is a great way where you can very clearly list some of the things that you do best. So, for example, in this case, one-on-one case management, 24/7 service, direct access to a particular attorney, lower contingency fees for more money in your pocket. So that's called out a few of the reasons, a few of the things that essentially this business does better than other law firms. Why essentially you should come to this law firm and not to others. Going back up then, look at the differences between these. We could potentially use an emoji if that is the kind of thing that emulates your branding and emulates your style, okay? Sometimes you can have different emojis, or if, for example, you're a more serious brand, obviously you can look at maybe just using this green tick is always a good one to go for. So again, always depends on yourself, how you kind of see your business and how you want yourself to come across. Remember the kind of audience or your ideal customer avatar, in other words, that you're trying to reach and the kind of wording and the kind of visuals that they might want to see from you, okay? So let's talk a little bit more then. So other times then you can test sentences, but you want to keep it exciting. And again, make sure you're highlighting those key unique selling points. Make sure if you're mentioning features that you relate to the benefit of that feature as well. For example, let's say you have a supplement and you say, oh, this contains mushrooms from the Caribbean, okay? And people go, or this contains X mushroom. Okay, it's the super duper new mushroom, right? But people are going to go, oh, okay, it contains that ingredient. So what? It contains the magic mushroom from the, oh, actually not that one. It contains X mushroom from the Caribbean that is really good for stimulating energy throughout the day, okay? As an example there. So don't just talk about your features, don't just talk about some of your USPs as if they're kind of throwaway comments. You want to add that level of detail that actually kind of makes people understand your product more, okay? So at the bottom of the copy as well, and you can see this in particular on this example, you can look to add in a CTA or a call to action. Now, obviously you have the call to action button option in the ads manager here, but it's not always a terrible idea to leave people with that impression. For example, get your free case evaluation, and then you could always input your URL underneath. Of course, remember, if people click on your ad, they can go through and have a look anyway. It's going to direct them straight through to your website. Or obviously, if you're doing lead forms or anything like that, you'll be just doing all of that on platform. But it's nice to kind of leave it on something. If they've got that far, if they're interested in reading your copy, you might have, you've hooked them enough to get them and obviously send them to where they need to go. Okay? So again, kind of having a look at how that body copy looks, the purpose of it, why it's important, but it is important to understand the hook takes priority. If your hook is not good, people aren't going to be interested in reading your body copy. Likewise, because a lot of people aren't clicking through to read your body copy, as I say, the emphasis goes on the hook first. But have fun with it. I'm sure, as Jack has spoken to you about as well, utilize these text options. You have up to 5. Get those in there, because remember, that's going to be paired dynamically through dynamic copy. And obviously then that's going to get paired with your creative. So you're able to try different variations of copy without it being basically a useless exercise. Okay. Hope this helps. Thank you very much for your time.